What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's a post-match pint after Celtic 3, Rangers 1 after extra time at Hampden. We're on the roof at Malone's in Sauchiehall Lane as always. If you're in the area, get involved. A great place to watch the game if you're looking for somebody to watch a Michelin game during the week. Malone's is a place to be. I've got Darren and Callum with me to go over. Callum, what I thought was a frenetic game. It almost felt like a throwback almost, with the amount of chances in the game. A load of flashpoints, a load of talking points, big decisions, 4 goals in the end, could have been a lot more, but the main thing is that we managed to find a way to come out on top, and after everything that's happened this week, there was spells leading up to the game where you thought you weren't sure how we were going to be able to show up in this game because of what's happened, but also because of the key players we're missing in numerous areas in the pitch, guaranteed first team starters, but we found a way, and I thought deserving winners in the end.
Aye, I can't disagree. I thought Celtic were really good today. They showed a real grit and desire to win that game. Although second half, and we'll get on to the point, is they almost felt like we had 10 men against 11 at some points in the second half. But look, you maybe give Rangers a little bit of credit. They showed a little bit of resolve and they sat in a bit and they tried to go long. But I also think equally Celtic went long at the right moments and times. And again, Celtic could have had so many goals today. You think Hatate's chance, Forrest's chance, Osman's chance in the extra time. Celtic had a lot of chances today to really bury Rangers and hurt them. And I wanted Celtic to do that. So we get into the game at the start, first maybe 10 minutes, I think Celtic really settle in. We've struggled in the last maybe 4 or 5 matches against Rangers to settle the nerves and get on the ball and start dictating the game. We're the best team in Scotland, we're the champions. We need to show that, and I thought today, the first 10 minutes, Martin O'Neill must have had a really good team talk. I can't wait to watch that on the DVD at the end of the season when I see that back to see what he said, because Celtic were brilliant when they came out. They didn't let Rangers have time to settle into the game. Rangers looked really nervous. That boy Giga, woo! He wouldn't get a game at my sevens. Honestly, he is a bomb scare. Folk thought Starfelt was a bomb scare, or Glenn Loovens. Giga's made them two look like Van Dijk. He is awful. A simple ball, I think Kasper Schmeichel kicks it long, maybe Trusty, and it goes into Tanecki, tries to keep it, but Giga takes it and just misses the whole ball. And all of a sudden Tanecki's behind the back four. So Celtic had a lot of chances like that in the first 10-15 minutes, and you could see Rangers look super nervous to get into the game. So from that point of view, I'm really happy, because before that I was super nervous. Obviously we've sat up here and watched the game. Darren was at the game himself, but I don't know what the feeling was for Darren going into that game and how you felt, but I, first time in a long time, was actually really nervous and didn't have a great feeling going into the game, if I'm brutally honest. I didn't know how are Celtic going to get 3 goals today or 2 goals today and outscore Rangers. I also think we were slightly vulnerable at the back. We'll go on to the point about Trusty and Liam Scales, the block that he does, unbelievable. But I felt a little bit vulnerable going into today. But yeah, it's turned out to be one of our better results that we've had against Rangers over the at least minimum a year, because this time last year we beat Rangers on penalties and we had actually a better squad, a Kuhn, Kyogo. We didn't have that today, and I just think every player in that team really stood up and grasped that game and says, we're not losing today. And that's a massive credit to Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and Big Fozza, and that the intensity's there. Like, that's down to them. They three, brilliant. Steve McManus, a lot of the players in that. But I really good for Celtic, and that first half was a really good start.
Aye, Dan, we talk about it all the time in these games. You want to get a good start, you want to take control of it. And I thought we did that. As Callum says, I think the ball down the side of Rangers, they went with the back 3 again, or back 5, back 3 with wing backs. And you know that's where the space will be for us. But I think Tanecki down the left-hand side caused Giga nightmares. He was really nervy, really uncertain. And it looked like we were getting space, we were progressing the ball, we were getting out wide. And again, as was the case through the whole game, although Rangers had chances of their own, we were getting a lot of joy in terms of the chances we created in that first half as well.
It's a bit of a cliche about starting well, but I feel like in a derby game with Celtic and Rangers, starting well is really important, especially when it's like a neutral 50-50 stadium where whichever team starts better will get the crowd going on their side. And I felt, if nothing changed last week in terms of managerial and all the carry on that happened, I felt like it would have been the total opposite. I felt it would have been a slow start, but obviously a lot of changes happened. Martin O'Neill coming in, it's not changed too much in terms of players or the style, but one thing he seems to have done is he's took the handbrake off. He's motivated those players. He's like, stop all this 2-3 touch passing about the back, play with, as Mark Forum says, intensity, going forward, smother the other team. And I felt like that's the way the game set out from the beginning. I know in games like that, both teams have spells, they have moments, and as we'll come on to, Rangers sort of had better spells in the second half where it looks like we dropped off a wee bit. But I think going off the beginning of that, just on your point as well, you obviously said you don't know what the feeling was like going to the stadium, you were a bit nervous. I'm always nervous when we play Rangers, but with this one it's like going into a total unknown really, because obviously we played them in September or end of August or whenever it was, and both teams were pretty poor then. An argument can be made that we're still pretty poor now, but it seems like both teams have made a bit of a step forward, so it's a bit of an unknown. But I kind of went into that going, I don't really know what to expect, but after, as you said, the first 5-10 minutes, kind of got, like, Celtic are up for this, we should get on with this. Obviously we get the goal, I think 18 minutes was the own goal, chopped off. I've just seen it back there, I can't believe we even chopped that off for offside. It's a toenail, it's ridiculous. And then obviously a couple of minutes later we do get the lead, and then well deserved obviously. And I think we're going on to get more. I genuinely felt that we could have scored 2 or 3 in that first half. The red card obviously coming 5 minutes before it, and you're thinking we'll get plenty of opportunities in the second half to kill a game, which is true, we did, but we never took them. We gave Rangers a wee bit of
in the game.
We just gave them an incentive to get back in the game by missing those chances, and then obviously the penalty, which I've just seen back as well, was ridiculous. Kind of just felt like my gut feeling being in the stadium, I just felt like someone's going to go. I felt like we're going to nick it. We're getting extra time, the extra man, the legs. We prevailed then, but well deserved. We should have won that in 90 minutes, but 120 minutes, we'll take that all day long.
Aye, on the balance of chances, we really should have won it in 90 minutes, Callum. I thought in the first half, as we've said, we were building momentum and we were getting the chances. I think Tanekte's the first chance, blaze it over the barrier, just looking for him to hit the target. Then Maeda a great chance where he gets played in, it's just straight at Butland, you're looking for it to try and find a corner. Then we scored the offside goal as Darren touches on there, and there's no point in dwelling on that too much, but it was one of those classic VAR offside calls where it's nearly impossible to tell if he's offside, and Maeda actually making a move back towards the play. Quick free kick from McGregor into Negan, he's making the move back towards, and they've frozen that on that frame, they've froze it on Negrin's foot. You could probably go one frame forward, it'll still be on Negrin's foot, and Maeda might be onside it, but there was absolutely nothing in it. But you felt like you didn't want that to sort of deflate us and take the momentum away, because we've had a disallowed goal and Rangers get a bit of a second chance for that. Now they did have a big chance through Chermiti just after the disallowed goal. Great chance, Schmeichel gets out to smother it and Chermiti just gets it wrong, skews it wide. But he thought it's really important here that we capitalise on the dominance we've had. We go up the other end, we get a corner, it's a great ball in for Arnie Engels, a brilliant cross, and what a header for Johnny Kenny. What a header.
Aye. Buzzing because I've gave Kenny stick, and I know certain people that are going to watch this will give me a text message later on when they see this, and I have gave Kenny stick, but what a header. Honestly, the ball for Engels will start is incredible. He's put it on right on his head. I don't know if it's maybe John Suter, when I think back to it, it's on Kenny.
I think Raskin's there. Was it maybe
I think Raskin's at the front. It might be Magoma, it might be Raskin and Magoma. It is Magoma. It is now when I think back, but Raskin's at the front, and Raskin's known for his heading ability because he scored a few goals against us with his head, but he misses it completely, and then Magoma just gets bullied a little bit from Kenny. The ability to actually be that close to the front post, but a little bit outside the box, outside maybe like just at the edge of the 6-yard line, and he actually get his neck to twist it the other way. Butland's get no chance because it goes right in. It's a really good goal. Celtic deserved that goal. Again, you speak about all the chances that were on the lead up to that, the offside goal. I mean, I thought that when these rules came in that it was going to be when they come up with the what's the word they use for the lines? Calibrated lines, is that what they say? When that and it's like it's just factual. But you talk about the frame difference. They pick a frame and then they draw the line. But that's not really factual in a sense. You're picking what frame you want to use. Look, I get we don't want to get into it, right? It was extremely tight. But we'll let it pass. Celtic didn't let that get the better of them. you could maybe see Rangers getting on in the next 5-10 minutes and then them getting the better of it, because the game kind of swung and flown from that side, where Rangers had a bit of time, Celtic had a bit of time.
It was very open, the game.
The game was very open, but what Celtic done was they punished Rangers when they felt that Rangers were vulnerable. And to get a set piece, I mean, Celtic don't score from many set pieces. I don't know if I'm biased, but I feel like we don't score.
Recently we're
that's what I was going to say. More recently, we've actually got better, which is ironic that Engels does come back into the team. Like, set pieces aren't brilliant all the time. He does hunt under hit, or he over hits quite often. But see, when he puts it right on somebody's head, Celtic's opportunity to score is brilliant, and it's very difficult to defend. And that's what I say with Raskin and Magoma getting caught in the middle. But Kenny's not even that physical striker like Chermiti is for Rangers. Chermiti, I don't think was great today for Rangers, and he missed 2 really good chances. But the one thing that he maybe gave Rangers was an out ball at times. He was able to hold it. I think at one point he took 3 or 4 Celtic players on and got a foul. I don't think Kenny can maybe give us that option, but what Kenny did give us in that option, and credit to him, was his fight and desire. He knew that he was up against Suter, Cornelius and Giga. 3 big boys, 3 strong boys. Cornelius plays for Canada, John Suter's playing for Scotland, Giga, don't even know where he's from, right? Couldn't care less. But the 3 of them were big defenders, and Kenny gave them a bit of a torrid time in that first half. He really did. He ran his heart out. You could see in the second half, maybe 60 minutes, he was knackered. And also you could see Callum Osmond getting ready to come onto the pitch. I thought Kenny done really well. There's other opportunities where he gets the ball. He tries to slide Tanecki in, and Tanecki doesn't really read where the ball's going and doesn't chase onto it. But I just thought Kenny was actually really good, and I thought he was better than what he could have been. I didn't think, I said to you before the game, didn't I? I said, how do we get an out ball? How do we get up the pitch? We're going to need to put it into the channels. But I thought when Kenny did get the ball, he held it up, probably the best I've seen him hold the ball up. Don't know how you felt down in the stadium, because obviously we get replays and you see he's actually done all right there, or he's maybe give the ball away. But in that moment, I thought he did do really well up against 3 centre-backs at times. So great goal for him, and then the momentum was with Celtic, and then we obviously got on to the red card with Aasgaard. I mean, Aasgaard, he actually does all right to flick the ball, and he flicks it over, I think it's McGregor's head, and then all of a sudden he just lunges, he sticks his leg out, straight leg, right into his groin area.
Eric Cantona, isn't he?
Aye, you could say so, aye. And I mean, you wouldn't have seen this, Darren, but his shorts were ripped, and then he lifted his shorts up, and he had stud marks on his legs.
Even seen it at the stadiums, a stone waller, seen it back, don't change my mind.
The biggest thing it tells you, everything you need to know about that challenge, is Dyson Maeda was going to throttle Aasgaard. It's the biggest response I've ever seen for Dyson Maeda in any sort of tackle or any incident in a game in my life. I've been watching him for years. He was incensed about it, so that tells you how bad it was. I was joking during the week, Darren, about the AI image with Johnny Kenny's face on Henrik Larsson's body, and that is absolute sacrilege, but credit to him, that was a brilliant header to give us a lead. Rangers did have chances on that first half, as we said. Chermiti is that one that he puts wide. We go 1-0 up. I think he's a chance at the back post from a free kick. Chermiti doesn't get anything on it, and then Danilo plays a ball in for Raskin, 1-on-1 with Schmeichel. Schmeichel makes a really good save, and I thought today a couple of times Kasper Schmeichel was called upon to make big saves, and he did it at key times in the game. He had a really good save, I think, with his left foot. Could have been the first half extra time against Gassama, when Gassama got in and Trusty was jostling with him. He got free, he's 1-on-1 in the box, he makes a good save. Kasper Schmeichel's going for a lot of stick for high profile errors recently, but I thought today when we needed him, he did make big saves.
Aye, and I think you can safely say without argument that Rangers did have a couple of clear-cut chances, but I also want to credit the 2 centre-backs, Liam Scales and Trusty. I thought they were superb, especially if you watch the game back. See how often Rangers go long with the ball, especially when it's from Jack Butland or from their full-back, centre-backs, whatever. They go long constantly, looking for Chermiti or Danilo, who are big guys, as you said. But I thought every aerial duel they won, they were getting stuck in, they were aggressive, and that's something that I feel like Celtic have lacked a long time. A bit of aggression gets stuck in. You're obviously talking about the red card when Dyson Maeda was there. I feel there's a lot of scraps in that as well, and it's something I like to see for Celtic, especially in this game. And Schmeichel, like he says, he's a very experienced goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, and he's at an age where, you know, over the course of the season you might highlight that he's making mistakes so often, but he's probably been doing it that long that it just goes in one ear and goes out the other. I doubt he's very affected by outside criticism that he gets from us as fans or the media, whatever. I'd imagine he's been in the game too long to let something affect him. So very big moments, and as you said, I think it was I don't know if the Aasgaard one you're talking about is when it was kind of stuck under his feet and he was trying to go around him, and Schmeichel just, because that was at my end and I was kind of holding my breath a wee bit because I was.
I think that was Miovski in the second.
Was it Miovski when it was? You're thinking he was kind of he was toying with the idea of shooting or going round him, and I was just like, do not bring him down, do not bring him down. I can't be bothered with another penalty. So he done really well there. And I was kind of surprised that Rangers didn't put away a couple of those chances, because we're talking about Chimiti, who they signed for £8 million, and then at the same time, obviously they took NEILL off at half time for tactical reasons because of the red card, which obviously helped us. But at the same time, we're bringing on Callum Aasgaard, they're bringing on Bojan Miovski, who's a £5 million whatever they spent on him, and subconsciously I'm thinking that might be the difference there, that they're bringing on. He'd done really well at Aberdeen, and I think he was at Girona, and he'd done alright. Scored the Champions League as well, so I think he's not a bad player. I know he's not really the best time at Rangers, but I think this guy can do something if he gets a chance. But they did have a few not clear-cut chances, but not half chances, kind of in the middle there, where they would do well to finish it, but you would expect Kasper Schmeichel to make the save. But I felt the defence with Trusty, Scales, even Sirachi as well. Ralston, I thought I was, again being in the game as well, I was a bit kind of like frustrated with Ralston. Not with his defensive side, but I just felt on the ball he was just getting a bit frustrated with him, because he would run with the ball and he would turn back and he would start again. That's just like.
He actually had a couple of good switches at times, but then I think because he had a couple of good switches late in the game, he was still trying to constantly switch it all the time and maybe getting a bit wrong. I was like, you need to get the Brendan Rodgers mind, like training out your mind, and you're playing Martin O'Neill, you can pass the ball forward. But defensively, I thought we were brilliant. It's just considering, because obviously, up until last week there was so much wrong with the team. You think back to Hearts, you think back to Braga. We were shipping in goals that we shouldn't have shipped in. Obviously, especially when you've got Carter Vickers coming out of the team as well. Trusty, I said this when Rodgers left, I was like, Trusty must be licking his lips now. And for me, he has proved himself today. Absolutely. He has absolutely proved himself today that he belongs in that squad. I know it's going to be awkward when Carter Vickers comes back, and then whether it's Martin O'Neill or if it's a full-time manager, he's going to have this dilemma, Scales and Trusty. But Trusty, he deserves to be in that team. He deserves, I think, a man of the match as well, didn't he? Fully deserved. Aye, I think we should talk about the centre halves. Callum, this is maybe no in chronological order, because I was going to mention, Liam Scales saves a certain goal. I can't remember if that was at 1-0 or 1 each.
It was 1-0. It was 1-0.
Gassama, I think it's Gassama again, going through one-on-one with Schmeichel. Rangers with a ball over the top, and you think, is he going to get there? My God, he saves a certain goal, and he actually gets enough on it that it hits back off Gassama. It should be a goal kick to us, but it was a corner to the Rangers. A brilliant tackle, as I say, saved a certain goal. I think Austin Trusty shows you today why he should have played at Tynecastle last weekend. I think at the time we were all bemused as to why Dave Murray played the game. I think Austin Trusty last year showed that he can defend well. He really is good, and I think in games where we've been up against it, he's actually been good. I think the biggest criticism of Trusty has been in some of the domestic games where under Brendan Rodgers he's asked to pass the ball a lot and the teams are sitting deep, and he's maybe slack on it at times, and he can lose concentration. But I think in a lot of games, even you think to the Bayern Munich tie last season as well, where he's had to do a lot of defending, he's had to be really concentrated against in a tough game. He's defended really well, and I thought today he won everything in the air. And Darren's right. Brendan Rodgers makes this point about two left-footed players. Trusty can play on the right-hand side. He's proven that.
I mean, we knew that already, because Trusty and Scales played a large part of last season.
He'd already done it. It was a really strange decision for Rodgers, but to focus on today and focus on Trusty's performance, I think he's brilliant today.
Trusty was brilliant, and it's a little bit funny that you get man of the match. Obviously, from a Rangers point of view, they're screaming for a red card. Look, if we touch on that quickly, is that he is a little bit stupid and a little bit late.
It was silly.
It was silly.
He didn't need to do it.
I almost think, but that it's a late reaction for a centre back. He's obviously a rush of blood to the head, and he's just been, it's there, and all of a sudden Jack Burton's face is in front of his boot and he's kicked him. The thing is that Jack Burton didn't bleed or anything like that, so it tells you that there wasn't full contact on the face. He does catch him. He does, but he's done it, and then he's in that motion. He's obviously trying to pull his foot out, and it's made his face. But Jack Burton's face hasn't cut open, and usually that does happen quite a lot. As the goalkeepers that go down low, you see maybe their foreheads just split into bleeding all the way down it. I think a yellow card was probably fair, to be honest. Does he take a risk? Yes, he does take a risk. Of course he does. And you give the referee an opportunity to send you off. Of course you do. But I think the ref, Nick Walsh, was a shambles at times. I really do. and that's us winning 3-1. That's not me trying to, they've lost the game and I'm blaming it all on, like some other folk fans do. You know, that's all I've seen on Twitter all of a sudden is, the ref lost us the game. Well, maybe you should get some strikers that are good that can score goals.
Rangers have never lost the game, mate.
Exactly. So, but back to Trusty's performance, brilliant. He was integral. He played on the right side of centre back on his weaker side. Every header that came up against him and Chermiti, he won it. He was hungry. Some of the times him and Scales ran through the back line when Rangers gave them the opportunity. Say, right, run through the middle of us. Went, perfect, hold my beer, now go. Ran right through the middle and started playing balls into Kenny and into Taneki outside to Gassama. I thought the two centre-backs were really good. And look, Scales has his faults, of course he does. How many times have we spoke about Scales, Paul, and we're not his biggest fan? But where I'll give massive credit to him is that's as good as a goal, if not better than a goal actually. Because in your mindset, you're thinking Gassama's putting that right in the corner and all of a sudden it's one each. You think, oh, what have we done? How have we allowed that ball? I think it's Raskin that turns and he just plays it from in his own half and lays it over.
Liam Scales' recovery tackling is the best part of his game.
Oh, brilliant. And the way he actually gets the ball, he gets himself in, blocks it actually hits back off Gassama and then goes out for, should be a goal kick, and Nick Walsh straight away gives it as a corner. So I thought the two centre-backs were brilliant. Again, Darren touched on quickly Sriracha. I thought he was really good as well. Energetic. You've seen him, I think it was maybe second half, when he goes up against Giga and he runs and Giga falls down as if he's been shot. And Sriracha actually doesn't touch him, he just throws himself. He's obviously been spending too much time with John Suter, obviously out of that camp, innit?
See Sriracha and Taneki, they two are perfect for each other.
I think they've got a really good bond with each other, probably better than what Kieran Tierney has with Taneki.
I thought Taneki was a wee bit greedy today, but other than that, I think the two of them work so well together, they constantly overlap.
Me and Paul spoke about that with Taneki quickly, is that what you get with Taneki is a really good output at times, but his maybe overall ball isn't there. But that's what you maybe get. What is he, 21, 22? He's fairly young. So when you think of that compared to like Dane Murray, who's 22 and has a disaster at Tynecastle, then you have to almost like understand where he's at his age, where he's at his progression and why he's at Celtic. Over the years, he'll become a much better player and he will be an outball for Celtic. He was really good. Tavernier looked a little bit scared to go into him. Giga was having
they doubled up on him so much.
But I bet Giga had a torrid time out on that side. You could see that he was so uncomfortable, getting dragged out from his main position at centre-back. He did not want to be there. There was moments where the ball came from Ralston, you talk about, he switches it, and Taneki just takes touch by Giga, and all of a sudden Giga's in no man's land. He's caught all the time. So I think Taneki, even though maybe his outball, or his final ball, isn't the best, I think he's still a really good outball for Celtic.
Darren, you've been watching Celtic this season thinking, would the real Dyson Maeda please stand up? I think eventually he did today and we got a proper performance out of him, a proper intensity, charged about the pitch. I think he was a nightmare for Rangers, and again we've talked a lot about his head not being in the right place. It looked like it was today, and that's a big encouragement for us.
Aye, and you still wonder where his head's at. Obviously he still wants to leave the club. Let's not bullshit it. For the first 2 months or however long of this season he's been poor and it looks like his head was a million miles away. But could you say there's even just the smallest change at the club is enough to just get a tune out of him till the end of the season, or even till if he wants to leave in January, he can leave in January. But until he leaves, he should be giving his all for Celtic, and we know that when he gives his all, he can be an absolute menace. He can be a terrific player, and they showed that today. I think obviously he started on the right today, didn't he? And then when I think Taneki went off after 60 minutes, he kind of switched over to the left. But again, when you've got Dyson Maeda playing like that and running like that, it doesn't really matter what side he's playing, because we know his ability with the ball and his dribbling ability isn't the best. So you can kind of put him on either side. I don't think it really matters what side he's on, because it's his effort that kind of makes a difference. And even just that, going back to the Aasgaard red card, like getting stuck in on Aasgaard, you don't really see that if it Dyson Maeda or Ria Hatate. Japanese players are usually quite composed in themselves. They don't react negatively to anything. They don't over celebrate when it's like a positive emotion. But I'd like to see that obviously more of that come from. I know he's just back for injury and he might get, well, he definitely will get on a team. It's just whether or not whatever Martin O'Neill decides where he wants to play him. I think he'll stick with Johnny Kenny there, but he's obviously got a bit of dilemma now because Taneki can't get out of the team, so he's got to stay on the left. So realistically he's going to be playing there for the duration till I don't know, January or whatever, until Martin O'Neill leaves, after manager comes in and see what it says. But a lot better from him today, just hopefully he stays injury free. I don't want him to go travel with Japan, because whenever he goes to Japan he comes back a different player, and I know there's an international break coming up the next 2 or 3 weeks, isn't there? So I hope the Japanese manager doesn't pick him.
Callum, I thought today, we've talked about Johnny Kenny, got a great goal out of him, got a good shift out of him. Callum Osmond comes on, who just made the Celtic debut the other night there, coming off the bench against Falkirk, really on the sidelines in the B team under Brendan Rodgers. And I think coming into today, we were unsure. We even talked about him before the game, like just unsure what he can offer. He looks bright, he looks like he's maybe got a bit of pace about him, but I thought his output today, to come into a game like that as a 19-year-old kid who's played basically no senior football, I think that was his first senior appearance the other night, I think he showed good pace. I think his touches were good at times. I think he was an outlet for us, particularly later on in the second half and in extra time. He had a bit of pace to challenge Rangers when we could get the ball. He was running the channels. He obviously misses a brilliant chance to win the game in normal time. And I said to you right after it happened, I was convinced he was never going to score it. That's his first chance as a Celtic player to win a cup semi-final against Rangers in the last 2 minutes. He felt like he was never going to score it. He should have done better with it, but he goes on to get a goal. And I thought he was very, very good value, Callum Osmond.
Aye, brilliant. I thought he ran his heart into the ground. He gave it everything. He even gave John Souttar at times. John Souttar tries to swipe him, I think, in one of the halves of the extra time, I can't remember. He tries to swipe him and he gets away and he drives in and gives it, I think, to Balak Wisher. I thought it was a really good ball. See, when Darren spoke about that earlier on, that Rangers have the chance of bringing Miovski on. Miovski's a proven goal scorer in Scotland. That's a fact. Miovski's also gave Celtic a torrid time at times. I remember the first game back in late August. Remember that Scales incident? It was nearly a penalty. Miovski gets on his shoulder, and you think, oh no. And then you think of Miovski as 2 years ago against Mike Naroki at Abbott at Pataudry, and he just curls it in. So Miovski's had a good time, and that's what I thought maybe the difference. I said to you at the start, Rangers have a stronger bench than Celtic do. I think that's fair to say. They had Mikey Moore. I think they had Rothwell, Gassama, Ant-Man, and they brought all these players on. But that actually tells me then maybe they didn't have a stronger bench because Celtic were actually, before the game, were weaker on the bench. But yet I think our subs made a better impact than what their subs did. I mean, Mikey Moore was maybe good for Rangers and he got them up the pitch, but without actually really hurting Celtic in those pivotal areas and those dangerous areas.
I was relieved when Joe Rothwell came on because he's garbage.
Aye, exactly. So I think a lot of players today have finally put the Celtic shirt on and made it their shirt, have made it their saying, do you know what? The last manager didn't let me play, didn't give me a chance, just didn't fancy me. Cool, it is what it is. But they've really grown under Martin O'Neill. I mean, Martin O'Neill's been there, 5 days? And we've got 2 results. Fair dues, Falkirk, that's the level, right? But to go into this game and win 3-1, I did not see that at all today. I thought Celtic would try and win the game by 1 goal because they've not been flashy in goal scoring. I mean, what was the stat before Falkirk? Livingston had scored more goals than Celtic in the season. Livingston, team promoted. And so you go into this game a little bit trepidatious and you're like, I don't know how I feel. And you've got Kenny starting. Kenny was a 4th choice striker last season, by the way. And then you've got Osmond, who wasn't even at the club, and you think...
And out of nowhere
from Fulham's academy. You think, absolutely no chance, but Osmond on that performance today was much better than what Miovski gave Rangers. It was much more than what Chernity gave Rangers. It was much more than what Danilo gave Rangers.
See what I loved to Osmond, right? See, a couple of minutes after he scored, just took Tavernier right out of the game.
Aye.
And then obviously he gets booked, just goes over to Celtic fans. Yes, I love that. That's brilliant. That's what you need in a game like this.
And I will talk about obviously Osmond's goal. We'll talk about that later on, but overall his performance, I thought he was really good. How many times do we see players come on that are at that age of 19 years old, Paul, and that will go and the game just gets the better of them? They can't really get a grasp of it, but he made sure that he was in those areas to cause Rangers issues, because Rangers did have a good possession, especially second half.
We lost control of the second half.
We lost control. We didn't have that enforcer. He just said, you know what, we're breaking up play. We almost played at Rangers' pace at times in the second half. It was like, Celtic, you've got the extra man, calm down, slow it down, and then you speed it up when you want to speed it up. Rangers sat in and countered quite a lot. So that's why they made all those subs like Ant-Man and Gassama. They tried to Moore, they tried to hit Celtic on the counter, but I don't think Celtic dealt with it brilliantly. And then I'll also let you talk on the point of the penalty decision, because fucking hell, it's unbelievable.
Rangers get back into it. Darren, they level the game through a penalty kick. I mean, at the time, it's really difficult to see what happened live because Ralston's just fallen over. You don't know where it hits him. You can't actually see the ball after it hits him. Nick Walsh points to the penalty spot. It goes to VAR. Well, you think when you start to see replays that surely there's going to be like a seriously long check here, because Ralston's been in a tussle with maybe Chernity or I don't know, I'm not sure who it was, and then he falls, but he actually goes to he goes to the extreme of not putting his hand out to like catch his fall, to like soften his fall. He keeps his arm in at his body and like falls flat onto his face, and the ball strikes him on the elbow. It's not intentional. It is a shot at goal. It hits him on the elbow, but as I understand what the handball rule should be these days, I don't think it should be given, and I'm really surprised there was such a short check for it.
It was a weird one being in the stadium, because obviously I'm over the other side, and even at normal stadiums you still got to see it behind, and you've got a big stupid running track in the middle, so I would need a pair of good binoculars to have actually seen it properly. But obviously the players hit the shot, can't remember what player, doesn't matter, hit the shot, and also there's a big cry from the Rangers fans, right? But that's normal, you expect that any time it hits a player in the body, you're going to have a shout from the fans to give a penalty. And I was watching Nick Walsh, and there was a pause, there was like a good 2 or 3 second pause, and then he blows his whistle and points to the penalty spot, which is fine, right? But then I seen VAR check coming up on the screen. It was a very short one that's gone away, and there's a penalty. So in the stadium I can't really see much. Obviously leaving the stadium and seeing it, I'm just like, how on earth has that been given? In fact, well, I know why it's been given, right? Because it has hit, as you said, it's hit his elbow, right? But you need to just look, you use common sense as a referee and say, what else is he going to do? As I will say, like, so because Ralston's basically dived like a fish, so if he's used an arm to protect, like to take his weight, and it hit his arm, it wouldn't have been given. But instead he's tried to do the right thing and cover himself, and it's nicked his elbow. They have decided it's a penalty.
I mean, it happens that fast. He's not even, I think on the still, he's not even looking at the ball. He's just fallen, and he's kept his arm in. It's not unnatural at all. He's not made his body bigger. He's just fallen in front of a shot. He's no like seen the shot coming and moved his arm out. It's like in here. Callum, is that really tough?
Let me just in on that, right? So I seen the rule here. It says a penalty is generally not called if a player falls and the ball accidentally hits their arm, provided the arm is in a natural position to support their body. So what you're telling me there, right, quickly on that, is that if he sticks his arm out to take his fall, is not going to be a penalty. But if his arm's tucked into his side and he falls, like, you know that like trust fall you have sometimes when you go to a workplace and you go, trust fall, trust your partner, and you fall, that's what he's done, right? Let me just read you on this. So accidentally has the arm, provided the arm is in a natural position to support the body between the ground and the player. This rule change, clarified by IFAB in May 2024, states that a player is not penalised for this type of accidental contact. A handball foul may still be called if the player intentionally moves their arm towards the ball, or if the arm is not in a natural position for breaking their fall, making the body unnaturally bigger. Now, I'm sorry, but if your arm is tucked in and it hits your back of the elbow, we've seen this with Kilmarnock with the Iheanacho penalty, when the boy actually, Mayo, had his arm out and it hits the Kilmarnock player but then hits his arm there. And I remember watching Willie Collum on the YouTube channel saying this cannot be given as a penalty because it's such close proximity that it hits one player and goes onto his arm and it's there. That to me is not a natural position. For you to defend like that with your arm like that to hit your back of your elbow, Paul, it's a natural position. I mean,
rules aside, any football fan knows that's not a penalty. I don't watch these monthly.
Apart from Rangers fans, because they all think it's a stone waller.
I don't watch these monthly things with Willie Collum, but I think with this one, or next month's one, I'll tune in just to see what he has to say. And I've already got it in my head what he's going to say. He's going to say something along the lines of the Rangers players hit a shot that's directed towards goal. But obviously, there's absolutely no way of knowing if Kasper Schmeichel's going to save it, it's going to go in the net. You can tell it's going to be on target, but you have no way of knowing if it's going to be a goal or not. And that's why he's going to say there's a penalty given. It's silly, it doesn't make sense.
The really quick way around this, because I do watch the videos of Willie Collum, and I actually think Willie Collum's comes quite across well, like explaining stuff, right? Things that I don't know, but when I watch him, he has stated on several times with Gordon Duncan, I remember watching it, saying, Gordon, even if it's a handball, it has to be taken into the referee's consideration. Is that to make his body bigger? Has he done that deliberately? Has he made his body bigger deliberately? Ralston tucks his arm in and he falls naturally to the ground, and you have penalised a player. Where do you want him to put his elbow? Like, here, hold on, I'll cut my elbow off and stick it on that. Where do you want him to hit it? It's not like he's maybe dived and fell with his arm down the way and it's hit him and it's blocked the ball. He's tucked his arm in as tight as you can. That cannot be given.
It'd probably hit him on the ribs if it.
Stephen McLean was on VAR, and shame on Stephen McLean, because he should know he's a top flight referee and he was on VAR today and he has made an absolute blunder, and thank God Celtic have won that game, not due to that decision, by the way, because I know a lot of Rangers fans are talking about the trusty one and the red card, right? But that is just, it's one of the worst decisions I've seen. How are you punishing a player for bringing his arms in and then falling onto a ball?
These referees are clowns. Nick Walsh is the biggest clown going, honestly.
It really frustrates me. So I'm interested to see what Willie Collum does say about this incident, because I guarantee you he says this shouldn't be given, Gordon. This cannot be given as a penalty.
See, in terms of just the last thing about the referee today, in terms of like the basic elements of a refereeing performance, stay out of the way of the game. He marked Dyson Maeda at one point, to the point where Dyson Maeda couldn't challenge for the ball, and then he finally realised that Maeda was behind him, and Maeda had to almost like jostle Nick Walsh out the way,
deflect the ball,
and then overstretch for the ball, and then he get booked for the foul after Nick Walsh had marked him out of the game for 2 minutes. Really poor refereeing, really poor position. But anyway, Dan, back to the game. So many chances. James Forrest has a big chance. It hits the bar, comes back off Butland. You've seen shots like that when they hit the bar, hit the goalkeeper, could go in. It works its way back, I think, comes back. There's a ricochet. Kenny gets back on it, gives it back to Forrest. He blaze it over the bar. Rio Hatate has a brilliant chance, really late in the normal time. Again, we work it well. I thought Forrest, who came on, had a good impact in the game, carried the ball well, linked it up, drove it to the Rangers defence. A couple of good balls into the box. He's a ball in for Hatate on the edge of the box, and you're just screaming at him, hit the target. He nearly hits out on Aikenhead Road. So many chances, but eventually we got there in extra time.
It only took 2 minutes.
Callum McGregor, absolute rocket from the edge of the box. It takes, I don't even want to give it the credit of taking a nick off John Souttar. It brushes John Souttar's hair. It doesn't do much to it.
I didn't even know that.
I think Rangers will be looking for a goalkeeper to do better, because it does go through his hands, but it's an absolute rocket from McGregor. And credit to Callum McGregor, because again he's came in for a lot of stick recently, but again he is a really defining moment in a big game like this.
Aye, and just on the missed chances, not single out one individually, but as a collective, like this is the result of, without sounding like a broken record on this channel, it's the result of having no like proper strikers in your team. You know, I'm sure people will be thinking, what if Kelechi Iheanacho was in that team, or he get half those chances? But that's what ifs. He's injured. You need to play with the players you've got. And you know, Johnny Kenny said that he's had a great week in terms of Falkirk. Why did I forget that? Falkirk against
Seems
today.
a while ago, mate.
Aye, it does seem a long time ago. He's had a great week, but obviously he's not the answer for Celtic long term. James Forrest, who obviously he's scored one goal in a year and a half, 2 years. So we need goals in the team. We've clearly established that creating chances doesn't seem like a problem. Obviously we're going to need to score goals, because Benjamin Negrin's our top goal scorer, and this is a guy who plays centre mid or right wing every single game, and he just goes back and forth then. We need, obviously we don't say we can't, nothing we can do until January, right, but from January onwards we need a striker who can score goals regularly, because that is ultimately what's going to win you trophies, not just in an individual game but over the course of the season. You need somebody every year to get you 20 plus goals, and right now we don't have that, and that's why you're missing big chances. Obviously, like you said, Callum Osman's coming on and he gets a chance to win it, and that's his first chance as a senior professional football player. What do you expect? Obviously, and then you talk about Callum McGregor as well. Brilliant moment of magic. I thought he was good. I don't think he was fantastic, but I thought he was good. Obviously, I know in these, like maybe the last 3 or 4 derbies, he's been very underwhelming. I think Rangers did a really good job at every one of those games of just basically marking him out the game, and it becomes kind of null and void. But I thought he'd done himself absolutely no harm done in his performance today. Great finish. Obviously being in the stadium again, I think I've seen it back once. It's a thunderbolt with a strike, and you know it's got height on it, but it is kind of central. But as the old saying goes, if you don't shoot, you don't score.
That's it. And I think we needed it at that time in the game as well. Obviously with Rangers getting back in it late on and then going extra time, you wanted us to try and get it under control again. Go 2-1 up, and Callum eventually we got the third goal just to give us the cushion in the game and let us see it out without any scary moments towards the end. We were killing Rangers down the sides, particularly in extra time. I thought down the left hand side there was a lot of play. Tierney had come on to replace Sarachi. A lot of balls in for Kieran Tierney eventually. Charging down the left hand side, he smashes one across. Callum Osmond slides in, it gives us a 3-1 lead in the game to send us to the final. And I think it'd be remiss of us not to talk about the impact Martin O'Neill's had on this squad this week, because it's an injury, it's a depleted Celtic squad in some areas, certainly defence, with Carter Vickers out, Johnston out, Iheanacho's out, and we're already struggling for strikers even when he's fit. So it's a very pieced together Celtic squad who would have been on the floor on Monday night going into Tuesday because the manager disappeared, and there was a big fallout behind the scenes at the club. It's been a tumultuous week for them, but there's no doubt that Martin O'Neill has given them confidence and belief to go and perform. And when you see a game like that, when we're missing players, it's open, there's loads of chances in it, and you think about these intangible things that you don't see, like the manager's ability to give the players confidence and to motivate them, and I think he's done a good job of that this week, no doubt.
The word I would use is Martin O'Neill's rejuvenated Celtic. You think of last week, a week today, we just beat off Hearts 3-1, fuming, raging, thinking, nah, not good enough. Where do we go from here as a club? If I was to tell you that Martin O'Neill would come in off a talk spot and score 7 goals in a week of football, you wouldn't believe me. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't believe me. Like,
would not have believed
so it has rejuvenated the club. A man that was on TalkSport that was talking about a few weeks ago that Rangers aren't anywhere near Celtic, and you see all these I'm going a bit of tangent here, but you see like Jason Cundy goes, has anyone seen Rangers, the King, the Queen? No, you haven't, mate. Pumped 3-1 off a Celtic side that are depleted majorly. No Alistair Johnson, no Carter Vickers, no really out and out striker that we would know, no out and out right winger, because Dyson Maiders doesn't play right wing, he plays left. Celtic were depleted majorly, and they've absolutely took the piss out of Rangers today. They actually have. Like, I was fearful of this game, I won't lie, I will. But see, now when I think of it, that is the word that I would use, is that Martin O'Neill's brought a composure and a belief back to Celtic. Whatever was going on with Brendan Rodgers, and look, I wasn't Brendan Rodgers' biggest fan, I wasn't. What happened to him wasn't fair. I don't think it was fair, that's my own opinion. The way that statement came out, it wasn't fair. But the way the Celtic squad have responded with 7 goals, and people would say, Falkirk are rubbish, they came up for the championship, they don't play, blah, 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 blah. I mean, we've nearly scored as many goals as Falkirk as we have against Rangers. So does that say that Celtic are actually back or really good, or does it tell you that Rangers are just average? I don't know. I want to tend to say that Rangers are average.
I don't know if you've watched Martin O'Neill's press conferences, right? But one thing for me that sticks out is it's a simple message that he's relayed to the players. Is that the winners, you've got guys in there like Callum McGregor, Cameron Carter Vickers, Dyson Maeda, who have been there and they've done it. Sometimes it just takes a wee simple reminder just to say, look at the badge you're playing for. You've done this before, you've won so many trophies, go out and prove that you deserve to win in this team.
That's a really good point, right? Because when you look at that lineup of players, if you told me 6 months ago Celtic would start with a boy called Sirache, not Kieran Tierney, to start with Scales, Trusty, Ralston in a cup semi-final, you'd have a bit of a fear about you. Celtic have went on, and Darren spoke about it there. There is winner mentality there. Callum McGregor grabs the game by the scruff of the neck when it has to. Look, Butland, maybe should save it or not, I don't know. I really couldn't carry it anyway. He's not a great goalkeeper. But Callum McGregor takes that gamble, he buys the raffle ticket and he wins the prize, he gets the goal, and I'm so happy for Callum McGregor. He's took a lot of stick this season. Let's be honest, Celtic haven't been a great watch this season at all, but now that victory today feels even more. It feels like that's the one that's opened the shed door, and eventually we can come out.
These 2 games this week have been more entertaining than any game we've had this season.
I think that we said it during the week, there's a different energy, but again we gave it the caveats of being at home against Falkirk, not knowing what to expect. I think the players have had a simpler message. I think they've enjoyed it. I think the energy that's been around with Brendan Rodgers and everything going on behind the scenes has obviously hampered us in the pitch, and now we look freer and we look better for that. Darren, the final one on today, I mean, I can't think of anybody we've missed. We've talked nearly about everybody in the squad. I thought we got a good shift out of Negan, a good shift out of Engels as well, who's come in for a lot of stick. Overall, trust to get man of the match as we talked about. Anybody else different for you?
I don't know. I feel like we've covered pretty much everybody. I would say just an all-round good performance. I think the 2 that stuck out to me were, as we've spoke about most of the videos, Sirache and Austin Trusty. solid at the back as well. Schmeichel, again, we touched on him. I think we have pretty much spoke about every single player that's starting at 11. Obviously, we briefly touched on the guys that come off the bench, Callum, etc. So they obviously, all of them deserve their dues, because whatever's been going on at the club has manifested. You know, this falling out between Desmond and Rodgers has manifested its way onto the pitch, and it's easily done. But it's, you know, partly due to Martin O'Neill coming in, and the players themselves, they have to take personal responsibility, and they have. And they've all, every single one of them, I felt today, earned their dues. So, aye.
Absolutely. Callum, any other shouts for man of the match?
We actually didn't speak about the Casper Schmeichel save against Raskin in the first half. Danilo slides Raskin in. Did we talk about that? I've had a few beers. But a really good save again. Again, Liam Scales, the block, is integral to Celtic winning that match today, because I think the momentum and the shift that they gave Rangers. I think the boys in midfield, Engels ran his heart out, good set pieces at times. McGregor, brilliant, grabs the game and scuffed the neck. Maeda back just from a long time off. And then you look at like the rejuvenation of Celtic and Callum Osmond and Kenny. Kenny's got 3 goals in his last 2 games now. There were massive moments in today that I doubted personally, that I didn't think they could step up to, and they've proven me wrong, and long may that continue. And just a quick one for Martin O'Neill is, I love seeing him on his wee copper boots on, and he's just wee tracky, and it's just
tucked into the tracky.
Aye, and there's a real like homeliness, if that makes sense. Like there's like a nostalgic pull towards him. Whether that's right or wrong to give him the job and whatever happens, right? But right now, in the grand scheme of things, there is only one Martin O'Neill. He's brought it back. It's brilliant. And he pumped Rangers an off 3-1. Get it up, every single Rangers fan watching this, because you all went into the game thinking that we were there for the taking. And we Martin O'Neill came off a talk spot. He's like, "Here, on my beer. I'll slap them about and on. I'll jump back to talk spot." So I'm buzzing for him. Hope Ali Coyce has a miserable Monday morning with Alan Brazil. I hope he does. I'll tune in and all, by the way, to watch it, because it'll be brilliant. But brilliant for Martin O'Neill, brilliant for Sean Maloney, and brilliant overall from Celtic. I don't think there's one overall man of the match. I think the whole team was in a real unity today, and they showed a real men's performance of going, people can say what they want about us, and we're 9 points behind Hearts with a game in hand in the league. Celtic have turned the corner today. That's what that showed me today. And thank God it was against Rangers. Not any other team against Fogger, it's against Rangers, because you're rotten, you're pish, and that's you at the League Cup. Cheerio, mate.
There you go. That seems like a good note to end on. That's it for the post-match pint. Like the video, please don't forget to subscribe. Loads of content coming up with all the games and any changes that we might get in the dugout as well. But for today, huge credit to the players, huge credit to Martin O'Neill. Wherever you are, enjoy your evening. Thank you.